Hi, this is Ken Willis with the 16th South Carolina. I'm going to show you some different sizes of ammunition from the War Between the States. First off, I want to show you a penny, and this is just to give you perspective. And then I want to show you the smaller caliber. This is about a 32 caliber projectile here. That's the size of that, and that's a pretty small round. That'd be a really small, like self-defense Derringer, or like a lady's pocket pistol. That's not really what was used typically in combat. Typically in combat, we have the 44 caliber ball, and you can see that there. Okay, then we have, moving up from that, the 58 caliber projectile. Okay, it's quite bigger. And if you'll notice, I'm going to lay this back here, if you'll notice, there are grooves in the projectile, and these grooves are where a lot of bacteria was trapped, and when men were hit with them, the bacteria festered into infection and caused gangrene, and a lot of amputations were caused because of that. So, but also the rear of it, if you can see that from the camera, I know that might be hard to see, but there's actually a hollowed out concave area there, and when the explosion in the barrel went off, the ball would be propelled, and as it went down the barrel, this back skirt would open up and grab the rifling, so it would increase accuracy to the weapon, and up to almost 700 yards at times there was accuracy there. Now if you were even more skilled with a Whitworth round, which is different, I don't have a Whitworth round, you could hit someone at over 1,000 yards. But that was some really superb skill. This right here is an actual round from the War Between the States that was dug. There's a smaller version of it here that is a reproduction. This is an original, and you'll see the same thing, the grooves and the concave opening in the back. But then here is what happens when you shoot one of these into a bulletproof material today. You can see that it's wadded up, and the grooves are still visible, and the skirt is still visible. But in that time, what would happen is, because of the lead being soft, it would flatten out almost the size of a $50 piece. So at least a quarter, but sometimes a $50 piece, and that would cause tremendous injury to those involved. This is an interesting piece. This is an original. It's called a Williams cleaner round. Now if you'll notice, it's the same caliber as the previous rounds. It's 58 caliber. But if you'll notice, there is a little difference in the rear. It is actually flat, and there is a piece that protrudes out. And this will be used to clean the weapon. After you fire several rounds of black powder in a rifled weapon, the corrosive buildup from the powder is going to clog the grooves and eventually make it very hard to fire the weapon, because you cannot get the round down into the bottom of the bore. This round would be inserted in a pack of rounds, and as you're firing, you would inadvertently grab this one, put it down the barrel, and it would clean the weapon out instantly. This plate in the back would expand and sweep clean the grooves, and it would clean the weapon instantly, and you could still fire because it was still a lethal projectile. Okay. This is the 69 caliber, and let me put it up to the conical. These conical rounds they're called conical rounds. They're also called mini balls. And a mini ball is named for the French officer Minet. We call it mini because we don't pronounce anything correctly. But it was a great innovation, because instead of a round ball that flies out kind of like a knuckleball once it hits the air, the conical would grab the rifling and spin like a football, like a quarterback spiral pass, and it would be much more effective. So there's the size comparison. It's a little smaller than it's about the size of a penny, but this was used by the South and North early war, and then some regiments, especially the Irish Brigade for the North, actually stuck with that round pretty much the duration of the war. And the reason for that is they would take their cartridges, which your paper tubes look about like that. They were actually a little longer and a little wider. These are reenactor tubes, so we're not worrying about putting a round in it. But they would put the powder in, and then they would take several smaller caliber rounds, either 44 or whatever, you know, usually about a 44 caliber round, and then they would put those in the tube and then put the larger round on top. And so when you fired, you were shooting 3 and 4 projectiles downrange at one time. And it causes, it's basically buckshot. It's called buck and ball. And some units could just simply load like 5 or 6 of these smaller rounds in and literally make a buckshot load. That's wonderful at close range. It's not great when you're trying to hit someone at 500 yards with that, and they are using one of these, which is accurate up to 700 yards. Your max range with this buckshot is about 100 yards, and that is extremely lucky. So this right here is actually about the size of a canister round. Canister rounds varied, especially as the war went on, but canister basically is a giant tomato can full of musket balls or round balls like this, and you fire them as it makes the cannon a giant shotgun. And these will go through about 4 people if they're within close range of the cannon before they stop. So very lethal, would wipe entire holes in the lines, take out entire companies. And at Gettysburg, especially at Pickett's Charge, it's very famous because it pretty much wiped out Pickett's division. I hope you enjoyed the video. Please like and subscribe to our channel.